All right, this video is to show you how to measure and mark your signatures so that you can know exactly where to punch the holes for binding all of them together into your book. You're going to need all 4 of your signatures. You have 2 out of drawing paper, 2 out of computer paper, or however many signatures you're making. You're going to need all of them. And then you'll need a ruler and a pencil. All right, so here's my trick for this. When we bind these, you want to have all of your marks, all of your holes punched in the exact same place on every signature. Because if you think about it, they're all going to be stacked up and bound together. Now, even though our papers may be slightly different sizes, that's okay. We can still bind them together. But we do need all of the holes on them, or all of the marks, to be at the exact same place on every signature. So I'm going to show you an easy way to do that. So let's just start with one of them. It really doesn't matter which one. I'm going to start with my computer paper signature. And we know that this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of computer paper. The drawing paper is a little bit larger. It's 9 by 12. It will be okay. So basically what we need to do is, when you have a book to bind, when you're binding a book, you need to have your holes punched evenly spaced across the binding, just so it's stronger and it's more secure. You should bind in no fewer than 3 different spaces. So the minimum you would do is 1 in the middle and then 1 on each side. That's the minimum. Some books are bound with more. Like for this one, I bound it in 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. This one, I bound it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. Now it's evenly spaced from the center, but you can see I left a wider gap in between the center to the ends, and then I made these closer. That was just my preference, and you can do that if you like. But see, again, on every signature, the spaces, the holes are going to be punched in the same place on every signature. So that's really important for your binding so your book stays together. So the minimum you can do is 3. If you're doing 3, you're going to find the middle of your signature, which is a simple division problem of what is 8.5 divided by 2. 4 1/4. So here's my 4, here's my quarter mark. So that's the center. I'm going to put a little tiny mark there. And then I need to just decide how far out I want to put my ones on either side. You need to be at least 1 inch in from the outside. Don't put it too close to the outside. It has a tendency to rip. So if you're going to go right out to the edge, maybe at the 1 and the 7, or at the 1 and the 7.5, I guess since this is 8.5, 1 inch in would be at the 7.5. So you could do that, put a mark at the 7.5 and a mark at the 1, and that'd be just fine. And then if you're like me and you want to have extra marks, maybe 1 at the 2 and 1 at the 6.5. Remember, because this is an 8.5 inch piece of paper. So if you want them evenly spaced across your length of your paper, I would go to 6.5 and 7.5 there. So that'd be fine. Again, if you just want to do the minimum and you just want 3, put 1 in the center, and then decide how far out you want it to be, at least 1 inch from the edge. But I could use this one at the 2 and at the 6.5, and that's even. Or I could use this one at the 1 and the 7.5, and that's even. Or I could use all 5 if I wanted to. So let's pretend I'm just going to do it, all 5 of them. I'm going to put those marks nice and dark so I can see them. Okay, then you can visually see that they're equally distanced apart there. It's symmetrical. What's on the right side is the same as the left side. Okay. Now I know my marks are happening sort of on the top of the paper here. We are going to be punching our holes on the spine. We're not punching our holes through the front of the paper. We're going to be punching them through the spine. So ideally, you want your mark to be over that folded spine. So I'm going to just do that just for the fun of it. You won't see these marks. They won't get in your way of your drawing or anything later. All right, now here's my trick to get them all in the same spot. Line up your paper, your next signature, pinch it tight, and then just put a mark at the same place. You don't have to measure it every time. Just make sure it's stacked up straight. Pinch it right there so it doesn't move around. And then just make a mark. Line it up. Like that. Okay, so that's my 2 computer paper ones. Those are both marked now. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that one. Now I'm on to my drawing paper signatures, which are a little bit bigger. Still, same trick. I'm just gonna line up my paper. The one that I already have the marks on is on top. And I'm just making sure that the overlap from the drawing paper is about the same amount of space on each side. So I'm gonna pinch those shut. You know, I could also do these all at the same time, and that would be fine. If this is too much for you to handle, just do one at a time. And if you don't feel like you can get it right, then do one at a time, because you don't want these in the wrong place. So I'm gonna pinch that real tight there and give myself my marks for my drawing paper. Trying not to shift my signatures at all, because that will give me issues. Just marking so that every signature has the marks at the right measurements on every single one of them. Does that look right? Yeah, looks pretty good. Just scoop these over a little bit. There we go. Looks good, okay? So that's how you mark your signatures so that you punch your holes in the exact same place every time. Minimum of 3 holes. You can do 4 or 5 if you like.